Thank you very much. As we're sitting down, can we just have a moment of silence? We have one of our longtime members, in fact, joined the Chamber back in 1983 when I became president of the Chamber, passed away yesterday afternoon, Bob Balaban. So if everyone can please just have a moment of silence to think about Bob and any of your loved ones that have passed away recently. Thank you very much. Geno, you did it again. Sold out Irish music during the St. Patrick's Day week. What's not better than this week, Huskies going for another national championship, having Geno here. Let's really hear it for Geno. Now, Geno, you'll really enjoy this. There's only one other thing that can happen in the great country of the United States of America. That's to have an Italian-American, Senator Billy Seato, named Irish Person of the Year for Greater Hartford St. Patrick's Day Parade. Billy, stand up and be recognized. His wife is Irish, though, right?
She married up.
Normally I would go someplace with this, but Geno has the mic last. I'm not going to. I want to thank again Mark Gallagher today for giving us the great Irish music this morning. Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it. Also, I just want to recognize members of the head table who won't be speaking. Hold your applause until the end. Mayor Enzo Fienza, town of Cromwell. Mayor Dan Drew, the city of Middletown. We have with us Paul Schickman, athletic director at Central Connecticut State University. Bill Pizzuto, director of UConn, Waterbury, and Torrington, is with us here today. And a real special individual. I have a small gift for him from the Chamber. Howie Dickerman. Howie is a very, very close friend of Geno's. But more important to me as an ex-coach and to so many of us in this room, Howie, like Geno, exemplifies what's good about coaches. Dedication to the team, dedication and loyalty to the institution they're at, a great love of the game of basketball, and a person that never has forgotten his roots. Howie Dickerman is one of those really, really special people that I think all of us in this room are honored to call not only a great coach, but more importantly, a friend. Howie, please. Immediately following the morning breakfast, the Chamber will partner with DECD and CERC on a regional economic development forum to be held in the Kent Room behind here. Commissioner Catherine Smith will introduce the regional point of contact from DECD and will discuss the state's new initiatives to fuel job growth. While CERC will present an overview of new business and municipal resources for economic growth. Anybody who would like to go to this can go, and that will be in the Kent Room right behind here afterwards. Also, and a couple people just signed up for this today, which we really appreciate. On April 28th, we will be having our high school career fair with approximately 1,400 high school students from throughout Middlesex County. I want to especially thank Wesleyan. It'll be at the hockey rink. And we are looking for anybody in their businesses that would like to present that day. This is very important for our youngsters so they have different areas to look at as they go on either to college or, more importantly, into the workplace. Gives me a great honor now to introduce Greg Shook, our Vice Chairman of the Chamber.
Thank you, Larry. Good morning to our members and their guests. Thanks for coming. Thank you to all of our podium participants. Also want to give a shout out to Larry, the coach, Jeff, Joanna, and all the staff for everything that they do. Nothing would happen smooth without them, so it's greatly appreciated. On the tables, you have the green sheets. The green sheets recognize state and local officials. We want to thank them for attending. And we also would like to welcome 5 new members to our chamber. They're the backbone of everything that happens, so please take a moment to say hello to them. If they could stand up briefly, I would appreciate it. All American Products from Middletown, if you're here. Congratulations, thank you. Pioneer Wealth Advisors, Cromwell. Beta Group from Hartford. State Farm Insurance, Mima Burke from Portland. Sir, thank you. And Ava Anderson, Non-Toxic, Middletown. She's here. Thank you. A special welcome to Geno, who happens to be a former bank director, a community banker like me. So I put in a shout out to community banks. I know Chandler's here as well. Obviously, I'm a long, die-hard UConn fan. Coach gave me 30 seconds to say a couple of things. Along with my family, especially my daughter, who is attending UConn and getting her master's degree, so we get a chance to go up and see things. But as a business person, a lot of the business folks that are in this room, we look at Geno and you say, gee, how can you sustain excellence? What can we learn from this man? He's so resilient. He shapes and he molds what I consider disparate entities. I have 4 kids, so young kids into a cohesive unit, year in and year out, to the very highest level is just short of amazing. So we really appreciate watching him and trying to learn from what he does. Finally, I'm going to end after coaching, and I hope a long, long, long time from now, when you do decide to retire someday, I think you have a job waiting for you. And the job, I think, is acting or one of a stand-up comedian. I just love the advertisement when you're wearing the 10 championship rings and you cannot reach your phone, the cell phone in your pocket. It's just priceless. And God only knows what you're going to do with 11.
He'll find a place for the 11th ring. I will guarantee you, and I will be in Indianapolis cheering him on for it as it goes forward. The people that were here early this morning, as you know, we are completely sold out. It's amazing. I get here at 5 o'clock. Harry Burr was here at 5:15, and Derek Phelps at 5:20 to get seats. So they get the reserve seats, and we give them a UConn shirt. So I guess that's worth it to get here at 5:15 in the morning. Also, we're happy to welcome the New Britain Bees this morning to this member breakfast meeting. The Bees are a brand new Atlantic League team that will play in New Britain Stadium beginning in April. Atlantic League players are highly experienced professionals. As you know, Bill Dowling, Pat Day, and other members of the Bees front office are here with us, and we would just want to thank them for, of course, joining our chamber also. Also, the voice of the Hartford Yard Goats is with us, Jeff Dooley. I think he's around here someplace, too. Jeff, where are you? Thanks for being with us today, Jeff, too. We appreciate that. Also, one other great Husky fan, and when I'm at the national tournament or at women's basketball games, this guy never misses a game. He will be 94 this May. George Hammer, please stand up and be recognized. This guy is an unbelievable Husky fan. And we have a great golf tournament coming up very soon. Nathan Grube is with us here today. Travelers Golf Tournament.
Thank you, Larry. Before I give an update, Geno, I want to say thank you very much for being here. To take time out of your schedule during this time of year is truly a privilege for all of us. And I want to say that I had not been to a game in a while, and my wife has never been to a game, and I took her 2 weeks ago, and she is not a sports fan, to say the least. Let's just say that to start off. But I was watching her during the game, and I was looking over, and she was very into the game. And at the end of it, I said, "Honey, what'd you think?" And she said, "That was really, really good." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she goes, How many straight have they won?" And I told her, and she said, "How many national championships have they won?" And I told her, and she said, "They were playing so inspired, like they were not entitled. They had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they were playing like nobody owed them anything." And I thought that was so interesting from a non-sports fan to see that in your athletes, what you instill in them, and to what Greg said, taking that lesson and moving that through. I was challenged as I was walking out of there going, man, Geno does that on every single season. He does that, and he inspires us. So thank you for inspiring us beyond sports into the business world, and thank you very much. But I have a bone to pick because I understand, I've heard that the Olympics this year are getting in the way of you being involved with the tournament, and I just really need to challenge you to get your priorities straight. Because the Olympics are not in Middlesex County, but the Travelers Championship is, so I just want to challenge you on that. But regarding the tournament, next month kicks off things, the Mahoney Sable 5K out at Cromwell, benefiting the Hospital for Special Care, really kind of kicks things off April 30th for the tournament. It's at River Highlands, TPC. They've done a huge renovation of the golf course from a fan standpoint, from a player standpoint as well. So you come out to the 5K and you can see that. Rolls right into our charity programs, media day, and everything else. So player announcements are coming in the next couple weeks. It's going to be another good field and a lot of fun first week in August. So thank you very much. Geno, thanks for being here.
I'd just like to have, we have a lot of high school athletes with us here today. And if they'll please hold your applause until the end, but I like to have them stand up. It's very important. They're here to hear Geno, which is really great. We have basketball player, high school women's basketball players from Coggins, Middletown High, Cromwell, Portland, East Hampton, and Westbrook. Please stand up, girls. And the Prof. Galito group, stand up. Prof. Galito. Well, it's going to give me a great honor now to, first of all, recognize Jim Jackson for presenting the time management workshop. Jim, where are you? Thank you for the great job you do for small business in the state of Connecticut. We really appreciate it. You're a great guy. Before introducing Gary, I just want to thank a couple of members of his team that are with us here today, Tom Ford, and also Pete Lamatha, who I was honored to coach back at Xavier, somebody that I'm very proud of the success he's had at Middle Oak. I know that Gary will be introducing Geno, but just a quick follow-up. As chair of UConn's Board of Trustees and having a background in coaching, I think that all of us in this room recognizes excellence. And Geno Auriemma is that. I dropped him a note after senior night. And I always watch certain things that happen. And the caring that he has for his players, and most important, the parents that were there, exemplifies what type of coach this individual is. He is unbelievable in the wins and wins, not many losses. But his integrity and his ability to relate to young people and his ability to structure them to become great, but more important, the caring that he has for his players is something that I think every coach in America should look at and exemplify. Not the wins, but more importantly, Geno, the man, and what he does. For that, Geno, I just want to say thank you, because you represent the University of Connecticut well, and more importantly, you recognize the fact that your players and those parents and families are vital to the success of the program. It gives me a great honor now to introduce Gary Vallow. Gary is on our executive board and has been a longtime supporter of the Middlesex County Chamber of Commerce. Middle Oak is a tremendous corporate citizen. They give back constantly to our region. Gary and his team are always there for everything that goes on in the greater Middletown area. More importantly to me, he's not only an outstanding corporate leader, but more important, he's a great friend, he's a loyal member of the Chamber, and a fantastic Husky fan. I give you Gary Vallow.
Thank you, Larry, for your tremendous leadership of the Chamber and the UConn Board of Trustees, and most of all, for your friendship and support. It is certainly a great pleasure for Middle Oak once again to sponsor this event. Any introduction of our guest speaker, Geno Auriemma, must begin with a review of the record. Closing in on 1,000 wins, Coach Auriemma has redefined the standard of success in women's college basketball. The highest winning percentage in the history of the sport, 6 perfect seasons, and 10 national championships, including 5 of the last 7. 5 of the last 7. This year is shaping up to perhaps be a record-shattering performance. Another perfect season to date, an unprecedented 4th consecutive national championship, we hope, and potentially an 11th national title that would move Coach Auriemma ahead of the legendary John Wooden in the annals of NCAA Division I basketball. There is no question, none, that UConn women's basketball is the most dominant team dynasty in all of sports. And most importantly, in an era marked by scandal and cynicism, UConn women's basketball stands for doing things the right way, with sportsmanship, stellar graduation rates, and student athletes who go on to lives as successful adults. Accustomed to this incredible record, some fans have begun to regard the dominance of UConn women's basketball as a state of nature, like the sun and the stars, that will continue to shine long after Coach Auriemma decides to hang up his whistle. Those fans would be wise to reflect on the famous Joni Mitchell song, which states, "Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone?" Just ask UCLA fans after John Wooden, or Tennessee fans after Pat Summitt. Fortunately, like Steve and Lisa Cody, who with their daughter Lizzie traveled from Conway, New Hampshire to be here this morning, the fans in this room, we know better. We know that the domination of UConn women's basketball is a testament to Coach Auriemma's refusal to submit to the forces that conspire to bring dynasties down. We know how very fortunate we are to be eyewitnesses to history. We know the significance of Michael Jordan's 6th ring of Jack Nicklaus's last win at the Masters, and of Brianna Stewart's quest for a 4th national championship. We know greatness when we see it. One can debate where Geno Auriemma falls in the pantheon of all-time great coaches in sports history. But there is no debating that in the realm of women's college basketball, Coach Auriemma is simply the greatest that ever was. Please stand and join me in welcoming the Hall of Fame women's basketball coach at the University of Connecticut, Geno Auriemma.
Thank you, Gary. Goes without saying that I agree with everything you said. Now, sometimes when you listen to people talk about you, you almost feel like that guy must have been a hell of a guy. It sounded like that. We come out here, and I'm always amazed, really, at the turnout. Number one, Larry should have been one of the great college coaches of all time. He's got to be the most amazing recruiter in the history of sports and business to get this crowd here. And not just for me, I'm not presumptuous enough to think that. It's like this every breakfast that Larry hosts. And sometimes we take that for granted, how hard it is to put these things together and be that successful, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, year after year after year. And Larry, you and your breakfast are the breakfast version of UConn women's basketball. Congratulations. And as the chairman of the board of trustees, my contract is coming up soon. We're always thrilled to have Nathan here. Without question, your bride's got to be the smartest person in your house. And I would like to introduce her to a lot of the people that cover our team for the newspapers, because she should be writing some of those articles. And they talk about how great our players are. I like when people recognize that for the very first time. And I think, you can talk about basketball all you want, and anything else that happens, but in truth, and I don't think they get the credit that they deserve, really, for 1 year, or for 1 week, I'm sorry, for 1 week, every year, we really are the center of the universe. And that's during the summer, when the PGA Tour comes here. And everybody in America for 1 week is paying attention to Cromwell. And what you guys have done to get that field to where it is and consistently bring those guys back, when you know how hard it is to do that, it just adds to the reputation that you already have as a first-class event. And I've participated in it, and if we can get that gold medal out of the way quickly enough, we'll come back in time. Thank you. So, next thing, my good friend Howie Dickerman is retiring, and with that, is kind of sad, but we all reach that point during our lives when we have to move on to the next thing. And some of us, we look back and we say, I hope that I contributed a lot to my profession, to the people I came in contact with. Did my job as well as could have been done. Gave everything that I had to the people that were counting on me. Then we all hope for that when we finish. I can say unequivocally that when Howard looks back on his career, there will be absolutely no doubt that the mark that he left on Connecticut athletics, as a high school player, as a college player, as a college coach, an assistant at Connecticut, and head coach at Central, the mark that he left on Connecticut athletics is going to be amazing when people look back on it. But the mark he left as a human being on the people that he touched is his greatest achievement. And I want to personally thank him for what he's done for me and my family. Thank you, Al. He's being hired as a consultant to UConn women's basketball. I'm bringing him to practice 3 times a week so that the players on my team will know this is what it means to be yelled at. So stop thinking I'm hard on you. You will now learn how to rebound the basketball. I remember at my daughter's wedding when my son was graduating from East Catholic, and he thought he was a pretty good player. He thought being first team All-State in Connecticut was like really cool. And Howard said, I'll never recruit you. And he proceeded to run Michael over because he said, you never take charges. So my son is the only one who went to his sister's wedding and got run over by a basketball coach to teach him how to take a charge. The thing that we try to do at Connecticut is all the things that Gary said. We try to do them a certain way. And it involves a lot of people, obviously. And it involves a great board of trustees that believe in what we're trying to do. This stuff didn't exist 30 years ago, and it's taken a lot of people and a lot of time to build it to this point. We've had, I don't know how many presidents, 5, 6, I don't know, since I've been there in 30 years. And now we're working on our 6th or 7th, I don't even know how many, Larry, athletic directors. As you know, Ward left to go to Michigan. But he left Neil here, Neil Eskin for me. So I'm not going to miss Ward that much, because I would have missed Neil more, because Neil did more for our program than Ward did, that big lug. I'm just kidding, obviously. But now we're on our next AD. And I'm sure you're all going to meet him soon, if you haven't already. And it'll be interesting to see his take on things and where that goes. Because as you all read in the paper and everything, the big question all the time is, what's going to happen to the future of UConn athletics based on what you see out there today. And it's financial. That's the whole thing. It's not about, can we win more games? Can we get better players? It's all financial. Do we have enough money to be able to do the things that you're accustomed to seeing us do? And that's going to be the big challenge going forward. Where are we going to get that money? So our new athletic director, Dave Benedict, has got a tough job ahead of him when he gets here. But I know you all give him the same support you gave Ward, and he's going to love it here. I told him that. He's going to love it here. And he's going to learn that it's a little different being athletic director in the northeast part of the United States than it is in Auburn, Alabama. He's in for a treat. This past weekend was an amazing weekend for UConn athletics. And you look around and you go, how does that happen? How does a team that everybody says is not going to make the NCAA tournament, all of a sudden now is going to be the 9th seed in the NCAA tournament and won a conference championship? How does that happen? Well, all the people that were killing Kevin, maybe even some people in this room, and Jeff Jacobs had to write a couple articles of people questioning whether he should be able to keep his job. You know? Coach Calhoun was at UConn 25, 26 years, I don't know how long, and he won 3 national championships. Kevin's been there 4, and he won a national championship his 2nd year. And now they're back in the NCAA tournament. It's amazing how people just quickly turn on you when they think they're not getting what they deserve. Think about that. Guy wins a national championship in his 2nd year as a coach, after winning 20 games in the year when they couldn't go to the tournament. And then they struggle a little bit. Struggle with what? I think they still won 20 games this year. And people are questioning whether he should still be the coach at the University of Connecticut, because those people didn't get what they think they deserve. Well, maybe they don't deserve Kevin, those people. But what Kevin deserves is exactly what he got this weekend, because he's incredibly passionate, incredibly loyal. He loves the University of Connecticut. Howie Dickerman is responsible. Imagine getting a kid from the inner city Los Angeles to come to Storrs, Connecticut. You talk about great recruiters. And Kevin has blue running in his veins. And I talk to him every day before every game during this tournament. And I remember saying, the reason that shot went in, that 3/4 court shot, that's fate. That's fate. I believe in fate. I think fate taps you on the shoulder every once in a while. And you need to be ready. Fate may never tap you on the shoulder. And that's not your fault. It's just the way it is. But you know, when St. Joe's played UConn, St. Joe's was up 3 with 30 seconds left in the game. First round game. We shot the ball. We missed. If St. Joe's gets that rebound, UConn's out of the tournament. Instead, a freshman, Amida, rebounds the ball, sticks it back up, and then, talk about miracles, he makes the free throw. Ties the game. Game was into overtime. We win. St. Joe's goes home. We win the national championship. That's fate. So when fate taps you on the shoulder, you need to be ready. And this weekend, you know what happened? Jalen throws that thing up there. Fate puts it in the hoop. And I said to Kevin, fate did its part. Now you have to do yours. And he did, and the players did. And I got to tell you, this was an amazing weekend, and I hope they have an amazing run. So I want to thank you for your support of Kevin, our men's basketball team, and I think we should give them a big hand. As for senior night, and Larry said, senior night's a big night, huh? How much I care about the parents. Yeah, they gave me their kids to come to play for us. And the big hugs. I don't want to throw anybody off, you know, next year for senior night, but you can tell how good a player is by how long the hug is. You know, I'm Italian, you know. I'll hug everybody, but there's hugs and then there's hugs. I hugged Debbie Baer Fisk a lot in 1992 when she graduated, because how could a team like that, led by a guard who she can't dribble with her right hand and she can't shoot, and yet started for 4 years, and even to this day is probably one of the top 5, 6, 7, 8 guards defensively that we've ever had at the University of Connecticut, and she looks just like the way she did when she played for us. you have to be passionate, I think, to be any good at what you do. You have to love what you do, and you have to be surrounded by great people. And my biggest strength, I think, is knowing how to bring people to me that are better than me at all the things that I'm not good at, and surrounding myself with those people. And then telling them, this is why I hired you, this is why I brought you here, now do the things that you're great at. And then I'll do my part, and because of that, we'll all be successful. I'm not the kind of person that brings people toward me to then tell you, this is what I think you should do. I'm not the kind of coach or the kind of person that brings Chris Daly on board and says, okay, you're going to do it the way I want you to do it. No, we're going to do it the way we think we should do it. I'm not going to hire Shea Ralph and Marissa Mosley and bring them on and say, listen, this is the way I've always done it. This is the way we're going to do it. No, this is the way we're going to do it, so tell me what your part in this is going to be, and let's go. And the same with our players. And we have 3 of the top 5 players in the country. Breanna Stewart, Mariah Jefferson, and Morgan Tuck. Well, how else do you think you go undefeated? You know, people say, well, the reason you win all the time is you have the best players. No kidding. Like, that's a revelation. You know, I mean, I'm old enough to remember, you know why the guy who's the greatest jockey became the greatest jockey? He rode Secretariat. Yeah. You know, you can't put the best race car driver in the world in a bad car and think he's going to win any races, or she's going to win any races. They're not. The trick is, when somebody gives you something great to work with, don't screw it up. Make it better. So that's what we've always tried to do. Try to get the best players to come to Connecticut and try to make them better. And more times than not, we're successful. So this year, you know, we're undefeated, as you've heard. The NCAA tournament's going to start this weekend, coming up. We're going to find out tonight who we play, where we play, what time we play. And we've played everybody there is to play. And there's no guarantees that somebody doesn't throw in a 3/4 court shot against us and beats us. There's no guarantees that somebody sprains their ankle and can't play and we get knocked out of the tournament. You know? You are entitled to nothing. Guarantee that. You are entitled to nothing. And everybody that comes up to me and says, Coach, I got my tickets for Indianapolis. Good. I hope you enjoy your trip. I hope the games are great. And I hope we see you there. But our ability to get to Indianapolis is going to be a little harder than buying a ticket. We have to go out on the court and we have to prove to everybody that we're as good as everybody thinks we are. And that's the beauty of it. We have to prove it. And that's when my players, I think, are at their best, when they have to prove something. You know, Nathan's wife is absolutely right. We play like we have a chip on our shoulder. We play like we have something to prove. Because when people say you're the best team ever, you have to prove it every night. Otherwise, they're going to say, well, maybe you're not the best ever. So that kind of pressure, I think, is good. That kind of expectation, I think, is really, really good. So that's where we are. We'll find out tonight who we play, where we play. You guys over there, you all done, or is anybody still playing? Which team's still playing? Mercy? Cromwell. Mercy's out? Good, they win all the time. Every time I come here, Mercy's getting a trophy for something. Deservedly so. They're one of the best programs in Connecticut, year in and year out. Who do you guys play next? Notre Dame and Fairfield? I don't trust those Catholics. Well, good luck. Is your next game at Mohegan? Friday? You don't know yet? All right. Well, good luck. Bring home a winner. Okay, so there you have it. That's the state of the state. Anybody have a question? Yes, sir. You always sit in that seat. You always raise your hand first.
I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Oh, Jesus.
Conditions of great preparation for team coaching. You're a master recruiter. It occurs to me that coaching options will benefit your knowledge of recruiting. My question is,
See what I mean? Yeah. I said, Bob, you need to get somebody like Breonna Stewart. You know what he said? He said, Nick Saban won't let me. And neither will Urban Meyer. See, the problem the problem that you have is that we can get Breonna Stewart and we can get Mariah Jefferson because of what we did 20 years ago. So UConn football doesn't have the tradition to draw on to be able to get that kid to come from, you know, they can't go to California and get the best player in the country. We can. They can't. That's just not possible right now. It doesn't mean they won't be able to down the road. So right now they have to do what they've been doing. They have to get a kid who everybody thinks, they may not be good enough to play there, but then you bring them here and you coach them up, and then all of a sudden, you know, I don't remember Donald Brown coming down to us, Ohio State and Alabama, yet he was unbelievable and he's played a long time in the NFL. I don't remember Will Beatty being recruited by the top 4 schools in America, but he came here and he played for the Giants and won 2 Super Bowls. So our coaches at Connecticut have done a pretty good job of coaching people up. And they've got a young team. They went to a bowl. They were 6-6. And they've got everybody coming back. And, you know, win 10, 11 games this year, or whatever the case may be. And next thing you know, some kid growing up somewhere goes, I want to be part of that. That's how it happens. You're welcome. Yes, sir. Hey, what's up? Great to be here.
I want to talk about, hear your thoughts on Stewie. I don't know whether it's just me, but it seems like this year they feed off of each other more than I've ever seen before. You know, Mo gets a steal, Stewie shoots a three-pointer.
Yeah.
Stewie gets a block, goes in for a layup. Can you comment on what you're doing to create that dynamic here?
I just put them in the lineup. You know, that's my extent. You know, those two have known each other a long time, obviously. They've played a lot of basketball together. You know, Stewie came in as the best player in America, and Mariah came in as like, she could be good. She's got to grow a lot. And they've kind of grown together, and in addition to Tuck, and have become, you know, when you have, you know, and Howard will tell you, and anybody who coaches basketball around here will tell you, if you have a great point guard, you can have a great team. But if that's all you have, you can't have a great team. And if you have Stewie and Tuck, you can have a really good team. But if you don't have a great point guard, you can't. So we're fortunate. We've got the best player in the country, and we've got the best point guard in the country. And is that enough? I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be as easy as when we had Renee Montgomery, Maya Moore, and Tina Charles. Then we had the best guard, the best center, and the best player in America. Then it was, you know, unless the bus didn't get to the game, it was hard for us to lose. But when you start out with those two and they have such a great feel for each other, I think Mariah's goal in life is to throw the ball up there, have Stewie catch it and dunk it. I think they work on that every day. And Stewie catches it and dunks it. And, you know, then looks at me and I go, big deal, run back on defense. Yeah? The boys are playing? Middletown? Are they here? Where are they? Stand up. Stand up. Who do y'all play? Who do y'all play? Who? Newington. They were undefeated before they lost, right? Yeah. Yeah, when my son played at East Catholic, we had some great battles with Middletown. Yeah. My son-in-law coaches at New Britain High, the boys. And so we have everything in our family. We had my team who wins all the time and his team that struggles to win. And it's because of teams like you guys. Good luck, all right? See you. Thank you. Yeah? Oh, you like that? When they proposed the scenario to me, I said, this is stupid. Because I've never had one of those rings on ever since I got them. I get them, I put them in this case, and that's it. I never see them again. And they said, we should do this. And I thought, this is so corny, it's so stupid. You know? And they said, okay, well, give it a shot. If you don't like it, we won't do it. So we did a couple things, and I put them on, and they said, pretend like you can't get your phone. So I said, I'm not pretending, I can't get my phone. And it actually turned out a little bit better than I thought. But the best was that kid at the end. I don't know if you saw it. They bring this little kid in, and he sits there, and I said, you know anything about basketball? He goes, no. I go, you ever watch us play basketball? No. I go, you play any sports? Yeah. I go, what? He goes, dodgeball. I said, you know what that is out there? He goes, no. I said, that's our practice facility. Oh. I said, you know what we do out there? What? I said, we practice. And if we practice well enough, we win championships. And he goes, oh, wow. And they had it on camera, and that was it. Kid does no idea who I am, what we do, or what the hell we're doing. That's what made it so good. Yeah, Gabby Williams, she's a pain in my neck. Gabby Williams may be the most athletic, well, Stewie's probably the most athletic player in the country because you just can't teach what she has. But Gabby Williams may be the most athletic player not named Stewie in America. And when she's got it going, there's nothing that kid can't do. She's just amazing. When we put her in the game, I know like things are going to change like that. For us to be great next year, Gabby has to grow a lot in terms of believing in herself. Like she knows she can do certain things, but then when things don't quite go her way, she starts to question herself a little bit. And you know, I make it easy. What the hell are you doing? You know, so that I'm trying to help her with her self-confidence. So if we get her to like, don't go into those moods where like I don't, you know, it's like playing golf. You know, you miss a couple putts and you go, I don't think I can make that one. Even though you know you can, you just, so when she's got it going, man, there's nobody better. And actually she's a pretty good shooter, and she's become a great free throw shooter. So if she can keep making the same jumps that she made from last year to this year to next year, then, you know, we're going to be really, really good. Somebody had their hand, yeah.
Question for you. First of all, big fan.
Thank you.
You can tell by the gray hair.
Yeah.
My son travels a lot. I've dealt with says he sees you frequently here. And you're always in first class, and the first daily things are goes to the coach.
Right.
What's that all about?
As it should be. You know, there's very few times when I can put her in her place, but that's one of them. Well, you know, the state of Connecticut's pretty weird, you know, like they're funny about who can do what and all that, but don't let her kid you. She sits up there more than anybody that I know. And obviously, you know, we put Chris up on that wall on senior night, and as I said, it's not that she deserves to be on that wall above anybody, and she doesn't deserve to be on that wall below anybody. But without Chris, all those people that are on that wall would not be on that wall. And that's why she deserved to be on it. And we wouldn't be where we are today without her. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Yeah, it's a lot harder than it used to be, I got to be honest with you. I think kids are coming out of high school today with a lot more of a laid-back attitude. You know, they're not quite ready to challenge themselves to be great. They just want to be good, and they want to be good enough to win, but they don't necessarily want to be great. So it's hard in recruiting to find out who those people are. But if you have 7 or 8 really good players on your team, which we're fortunate to have, and then you have a couple of them that don't really feel like playing really hard that night, you just bench them. And then they get the message. Whereas maybe in men's basketball, that's harder to do because you might not have that many. In women's basketball, it's even harder because you don't have that many. So you got to play a kid even though you don't want to, and it kills you. With me, if I got a kid that's not playing, it doesn't feel like playing that night, I just go, fine, sit here. And then they get the message. Other than that, I don't know how you. Plus, there's a, you know, I just show them what we have in our building. You know, we didn't get all these banners by watching players play like that. So if you want to play like that, go somewhere else. You know, it's bigger than any one player at Connecticut. Even Stewie. Remember last year against Memphis or something? She played like 3 minutes and I benched her and she didn't get in the rest of the game. And everybody thought, oh, he's motivating them for South Carolina. No, I wasn't. I was pissed. I said, you want to make the Olympic team and you can't guard a kid from Memphis? No disrespect to Memphis, but that kid's not going to play on the Olympics. So it's just that kind of mentality, I think, that exists in our program every day. You know? Yeah.
Sustain your success.
Well, recruiting, you know, obviously is everything. It's a bad part of the job because you have to deal with parents whose kids have grown up with a sense of entitlement now. You know, I say this to every kid that visits campus, and especially when they're with their parents. I said, every 18-year-old kid that I recruit today is like every 18-year-old kid I've ever recruited. You know, Debbie's sitting here. When I went to her house to recruit her, she's exactly the same as every 17, 18-year-old kid that we're recruiting. Here's the biggest difference today. Their parents are screwed up. And I tell them right there, said the biggest problem with the 18-year-old kids today is their parents want to be their friends rather than their parents. So they come there. So they show up and no one's ever told them, well, you're going to have to wait to be good. You're going to have to wait your turn maybe, or maybe not. You might not get what you want right away, or maybe you will. You're not as good as you think you are, or maybe you are, but you're going to have to prove it. And you're not getting a medal just for coming to practice every day. And for those kids, you know, that's the first time they're hearing that. So recruiting has become really, really, really difficult. And then what happens is a kid gets to your school, doesn't get what they think they deserve right away, and they want to leave. Because that's what they do in high school. You don't like the way your high school coach coaches? Go to another high school. You don't like the grades that your kid's getting? Call the teacher and have the teacher fired. Call the principal. Do something. But don't bring your kid in and sit them down and say, look, next time you get one of these, whack, like back in the day. So anyway, we have the best point guard in America coming in. Hopefully to take Mariah Jefferson's place. She's the best point guard in the country, without question. Great kid, both her parents are in the service. Nicest kid in the world, smart, tough. We managed to do the unimaginable. We recruited a kid, she's smaller than Mariah Jefferson. We figured with somebody that small became that good. If we get somebody a little smaller, she'll be even better. But this kid's unbelievable. She started for Dawn Staley's team this summer at the World Championships as a high school kid with all these college kids. She's really, really good. Her last name's Dangerfield. It's a great name for a kid. Unless I start calling her Rodney. Yeah.
Geno, we like to talk about all the superstars, and you certainly have a lot of them. But I think really as leaders and as people who are involved in children's work, it's really important to get the best out of everyone. And I think it's awesome that you have 2 walk-on players, and you supported 4 years, gave them a scholarship, and really got the best out of them. So thank you for that. I think that's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and I'll end by this. I think in life, too many times, it's what you do that you're rewarded for, and not enough for really who you are. So everything's based on, well, what did you do? Where if you go by that, then our 5 starters should get paid more money. Their scholarship should be worth more than somebody like Tierney Lawler or Brianna Polito. Well, yeah, they do more, but they're not getting any more money. They're not getting treated any different. They're not being expected to do anything other than be part of the team. So those 2 kids come every day, and they have to do everything everybody else does. Same amount of practice, same amount of watching film, same amount of everything. The only difference is they don't get anything in return on the court. But where they get it is off the court, and the things that they are able to do. So I think it's a great lesson for our players that you can be Stewie and you can get everything that, God willing, you can get. But in the real world, when you go to work, not everybody that works at that place is Stewie. There's some Stewies, but if you're not one of those people, how are you going to manage to make yourself indispensable? Because that's the key eventually. How do you make yourself indispensable where you work and you're not the superstar? And we tell them, be a star in your role. So those 2 kids have been a star in their role, and we gave them a full scholarship for doing that. And, to me, that just gets back to, the people. Larry, the people sitting up here, the people sitting down there. You are what you do, your work, but in the end, you're going to be rewarded for the kind of person that you are, what you do for other people, and being a star in your role. And if it means you're the leading person in your family, in your group, or whatever, and then you're a superstar. But you're a star at what you do, and you treat everybody like they're a star. That's the way I grew up. That's the way I was treated growing up, and that's the way I want to treat people. And every time we get together, whether it's this or anything else, we talk about that. We talk about it's people that win championships, not buildings, not practice facilities, not how much money we have. It's people that win championships, and we keep getting the best people. And as long as we can keep getting the best people, then we want to keep doing what we're doing. And if we keep doing what we're doing, Gary, don't lose that speech. I wish you all the best. Thank you, Larry, for having us. We start playing next weekend. Where, when, how, I don't know. But let's hope that our 3 seniors, it's a great quest. It's a tremendous journey. It's an unbelievable opportunity that they have. And let's hope they're successful. Thank you all very much.